We are back, and it is
We
episode
are back.
221 of the Metal Roundtable. I am Metal Rob. The Carcass will be here shortly.
Right now, just got off the phone with him. He said he's all prepared. He's gonna have his POWs, so we're good.
All right. But I am also joined by the great Scott Waters and Steve Harmless Rebel, who is just back from a trip out of the country. So thank you for rolling on here, brother.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I have a feeling very shortly after this stream is over tonight, I will be in bed.
Yes.
It was a 10-hour flight, the second half of it. And I slept and it was all day. And I slept through about 5 hours of it. So last night I couldn't go to sleep. I fell asleep at like 3:30 and had to wake up at 6 for work. So
oh man. Well, Carcass, we literally just started. So
okay, well, I literally just got home and got here, so I apologize for my disheveled appearance, although that seems to be the norm lately.
You're good, man. I'm gonna let Scott drive the bus because he's kind of got the topic wheel rolling and got some stuff he wants to talk about. So I'm gonna ride shotgun and let's get after it.
Yeah, well, let's just start with the normal stuff. Anybody got any shout outs? And I know that John's got at least his POW, so we'll start with him.
Oh, okay. So, stand by, production value.
You're doing great, buddy.
Do 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 do.
Scotty Adams is here.
So this has kind of been a challenge, but I like it because it's allowed me to kind of rummage through my collection. And so, pick of the week. The rock pick of the week is plain and simple. Led Zeppelin 2.
Now let's ask the obvious question.
Yep.
Is it a Ludwig pressing?
No, this happens to be it's a Bolivian pressing, believe it or not. Because as Scott and I talked about was it last week where we talked about, is it hoarding or is it collecting?
Yep.
Yeah, I have a German pressing, a Chilean pressing, an Ecuadorian pressing, a Mexican pressing, several American pressings, blah blah blah. Anyway, this just happens to be the Bolivian pressing, and I do have a Ludwig pressing, but it's beat up. Yeah. It sat in water. I think you know the story behind that. So Anybody out there, I'm still looking for a Ludwig pressing. Anyway, Led Zeppelin 2, their first album is very, very bluesy, and we all know the stories behind it about how they may or may not have ripped off a lot of blues artists. I think they came to terms with that and thanked them in future releases. But they discovered a new type of heaviness on this record. And so I think that lends to the credence that they deserve to be in a heavy metal collector's collection. So Led Zeppelin 2, that's my recommendation for the week, or my pick of the week. And I think this needs to be in every heavy metal person's collection.
Yes.
Overkill Taking Over. This obviously is a reissue. It's a half-speed master on pink marbled vinyl. It looks really cool, but this is one of my favorite. And as I was listening to it this week, Deny the Cross, Wrecking Crew, Fatal If Swallowed, Power Surge was one of my favorite, kind of a skanking, moshing thing. And then I love the way they tied albums together with the Overkill 1, 2, 3, and so forth. I'm a little disappointed they don't have like Overkill 28 or something, or whatever many records they have out. But Overkill Taking Over, that's my second pick of the week for the metal side. And if you haven't heard it, you need to YouTube it, and then you need to go buy it because it's worth having.
Yes, it is. Yeah, Ultimatum actually covered a song from that album. I love that album.
Can't go wrong. And you know what? As we've talked about before on the show, they're probably one of the most consistent metal bands out there. I mean, they just don't put out crap. People may question the I Hear Black album because it's slower and more trudgy and maybe even grungy, but I think that's a great record too in its own right. Kind of like Exodus's Force of Habit or one of those. They're a little slower and a little more. I don't even want to use the word melodic because then that sounds like they're trying to be something that they're not. But anyway,
Sacred Reich Heel.
Yeah, something like that. But still, I mean, it's good music. It's good record. I can't complain. And name me a terrible Overkill record.
Nope, don't exist.
Oh wait, yep.
Nope.
There you go. That's all. Now I bet we could all name a terrible Metallica record or a terrible Slayer record, maybe even, or I don't know. Anyway, I do want to shout out Gina Corbett, Bruce Corbett's widow. She's finally, speaking of coming to terms, she's finally come to terms that she's got a house full of stuff that is just sitting on a shelf. And so she's been parceling out bits and pieces of Bruce's old collection of action figures, sports memorabilia. And I discovered a record in the pile of records that he had that was basically an interview with Aerosmith on Metal Shop from 1993.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know, Scott, maybe if you want that, I can send it to you because I have it here. I had to clean it up and put it in a new jacket. It was kind of beat up, but very interesting. They were doing the Metal Roundtable back in 93, I guess, and they were just called the Metal Shop. So
that's cool.
Fun times.
Well, how about you, Steve? You got any shout outs?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'll go last. I'll talk about my trip to Brazil.
Okay.
All right, I'll be quick.
I got one too when you're done.
All right. Yeah. Sorry if I got out of turn.
No, you didn't. Go.
Couldn't be less prepared. I'm going to shout out to the dudes from Tom Kiefer's band and ladies from Tom Kiefer's band. Got to go to Oklahoma City and hang out with the band and LA Guns. That was very cool. Didn't hang out so much with LA Guns as much as Kiefer's band, but we've gotten to know Jared Pope a little bit and gotten to know Tony a little bit, and it's pretty cool. And Tanya that sings with the group, that they were just awesome. Richie and I went up, and Richie did barbecue, and we got to hang out, and they're just super sweet people. But I got to tell you, I've been to a lot of shows, and I have also, this is going to sound like I'm blowing sunshine up your skirt about them because I just saw them. But Tony Higbee told me when we got there, he said, dude, if you have not seen LA Guns, you need to be standing side stage with me and check this out. And so obviously I wasn't going to miss it. So sure enough, we did. Holy cow, man. It's Phil and Tracy. And I feel awful that I don't know the other dudes' names. But the album, I hadn't heard it. The album Black Diamonds is good. They killed it live. Absolutely killed it. And then I thought, well, okay, I know what to expect from Kiefer because I just saw him a few months ago in Dallas. Kiefer's band is absolutely show-stopping. They are just incredibly good live. There is no weak link. It's just musicianship from one side of the stage to the other. And they're just sweetheart people. Not just to us because we're getting to hang out, but to everybody they run into, they're just so nice. Eddie Trunk was there, and that was pretty cool. So yeah, it was great, man. If you're on the fence about going and seeing the Kiefer band or LA Guns, do yourself a favor and go see it. You will absolutely not be disappointed. So that's my shout out to those guys for letting us hang out.
Right on. I wanted to quickly we lost Firehouse vocalist CJ Snare this week. So I have no idea why or what happened. All I know is all of a sudden my phone was lighting up with people saying, hey, did you know this? Firehouse vocalist just died. So that's sad. So I thought I'd, shout out to a brother who's passed on.
Cardiac arrest. He had I read that he had some medical issues. I'll let you guys read about it, but I think the final thing was cardiac arrest, which is unfortunate because he was only 64.
Gosh. And he looked healthy, you know what I mean? He wasn't like overweight or, you know what I mean?
Right. I'm going to show you something cool. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Steve. You're up.
Yeah, so right before I went to Brazil, I think 2 nights before, I actually saw Girl School on their final U.S. tour with Lillian Axe and the wrong version of Alcatraz. It's the version.
What do you mean by that? The one without Graham Bonnet and Ingrid Malmsteen?
It's only the keyboard player. The keyboard players. Technically, the original bass player, still in the band, but he came out for one song, and then they had another bass player for the rest of the show. So, yeah, when all that's left is a keyboard player, that's not the same band.
No,
I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's a tribute band.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't even go that far. I mean, they sounded good. Then Lillian Axe came on next. I never got into Lillian Axe. They did a good show, but I didn't know any of the songs. Some good guitar riffs. I think the same thing. I think it's the guitar player and the bass player, the only original members in that band. And then the singer, what band is the singer from? I believe the singer is the current singer from White Wizard.
Oh yeah, I know.
Luna, right?
What's his name?
Isn't it Luna?
Yeah, that sounds right.
That used to be, he used to be in White Wizard, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's him.
James Paul Luna.
Yeah. And then Girl School came out, and Girl School absolutely murdered. Man, they're still so good. It's actually funny. I took a picture. I think that's the Scott. But so the Girl School, all the ladies from Girl School were in the middle of the crowd, and nobody realized who it was because they just looked like a bunch of older ladies just chilling, getting into the music. And I just took a picture of them, and I was laughing because all these girls are there to see Girl School, and nobody even realizes that they're right next to them. You know,
that's funny.
Yeah, which was hilarious. But you know, I mean,
that happened a bunch of times though.
Well, when they come on stage, their hair's done up. They got their Motorhead shirts. You know, they got their metal shirts on. But I mean, they were in the audience with sweaters, and I mean, they look like a bunch of British grandmas. You know, but man. I think the tour is over, but if it's not and they play near you, it's 100% worth going just for Girl School. And then they did a couple of so the keyboard player and the bass player from Alcatraz were also the keyboard and bass player for New England back in the 70s. Yeah. So they did one of the New England tracks too with the bass player and guitar player from Lillian Axe and the singer from Lillian Axe. So it was all right. I mean, it didn't make, like I said, Lillian Axe sounded good. It didn't make me want to go out and buy any Lillian Axe albums. But if you're a fan, go check it out, you know. So anyway, I just got back from Brazil last night. I was there for 2 weeks. My wife's Brazilian. Most of her family lives there. She has a sister that was there also that lives in the UK. So for the last 2 years, we've been building a beach house out there. She has two brothers and a sister, and then her parents, and we've all been chipping in for this beach house right on the Atlantic Ocean in Baja Velia, which is about 3/4 of the way down. So we were there for a week and a half, just chilling and loving life, getting eaten by mosquitoes. So we went into Curitiba, which is one of the big cities there. I think it's the third biggest in the country, and ended up hitting up 4 record stores. Pretty disappointing this time. Last time I went was 2017. I got a couple of OG pressings of Sepultura. I was still looking for the original split, the Overdose Sepultura Bestial Devastation, and I still need an original pressing of Morbid Visions. Unfortunately, in Brazil, record collecting has gotten almost as big as it has here, and all the Brazilians are looking for those same records that we're looking for. So, like, I was getting killer deals last time I was there, you know, $10-15 for really rare British press or really rare Brazilian pressings. Those are gone now, and the prices were through the roof. Most of the record stores were full of new American and European pressings for about $50 US with conversion rate. I was looking for Sepultura originals, found none. I found 2 original Sepulturas. They were both original U.S. pressings, which I already have and could have got cheaper here anyway. And then Hot Dose G, what is it? Hot Dose G Port, is it Port Cow? Or Port Owl? It's rats in the basement is basically what it's.
Oh, Ratos de Porra, yeah.
Yeah.
That's basement rats.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I found repressings of those, and even the represses of those were about 300 reais a piece, which is about $50 or $60. So I mean, it was insane what the prices were. But I did find a couple of cool things. I only actually found one cool Brazilian band that I was familiar with. The rest of these are just comps and just some American records or Brazilian pressings of American records. This one's a Brazil-only comp called Heavy Metal Attack. It was a Brazilian promo from EMI. It was only available in Brazil, but you can see the Brazilian EMI label right there. But this one's kind of cool. Iron Maiden, Helix, Icon, Wasp, Queensryche, and then Great White. Kind of a weird mix, but it was like $15, so I grabbed it. A Brazilian pressing of Metal Massacre 7, which is actually one of the Metal Massacres that I didn't have, and it's on Young Records.
Oh, weird.
Which is a Brazilian label. I mean, it's still got the big old metal blade and Restless on the corners, but yeah, on Young Records. The big ones on here were Heretic, Flotsam and Jetsam, Détente before they changed their name to what is it, Scott? Fear of God?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cryptic Slaughter and Have Mercy were the big ones on here. This was cool. I didn't have an original pressing of this, so this is an original Brazilian pressing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. The Ritual. I had Legacy in my head, but you got the Brazilian Atlantic label, which looks the same as ours. But I thought that was cool. I got that for like $30. A Brazilian pressing of Diary of a Madman. Which, although it says Jet Records, is on an Epic label, which I had never seen an Aussie from this era on an Epic Records label.
I think that they had the distro from Jet, the international distribution.
It's got Epic and Jet on here. And then last but not least, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this band. This is Viper. They started off as a speed power metal band. On their first album, it was a singer would go on to be the singer for Angra. So if you like that sound, that's kind of what their first few albums were. By this one, that the singer had gone on to Angra, and this is more of a straight up heavy metal with a little bit of. There's still a little bit of speed metal here, but it's mostly just lightly power heavy metal, I guess.
That dude does have a great voice, though, so he could make any band sound decent.
I think I have Theater of Fate and Soldiers of Sunrise on CD.
Yeah, that's their first two. This is the third one right after that. So, the Angra singer was only on the first album though, and then the bass player took over. But his voice is right up there with the guy from Angra. I mean, he still hits those really high operatic vocals, just like he. What's the guy's name? Andre Matos.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
Mateos. Yeah, I think that's correct.
So that was it. Yeah, I just grabbed a few.
I picked that up off the merch table at LA Guns.
Oh, that's cool.
Later?
Yeah, I don't buy T-shirts much anymore. I just buy shelf sitters. So, got my Zippo. Yeah, I've never smoked a cigarette.
I tried to do the signed stuff. Girl School new album. They did the signed copy of their new album. So I grabbed a couple of those.
Yeah, that's cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were done, brother.
No, you're good.
The thing I got up to look for was this. I had a hard time finding it. So
is that the MD?
In honor of CJ Snare, it is not a DVD. It is
a mini disc.
No, he said MD, mini disc.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a mini disc.
I loved mini discs. I was in Japan when they came out, and they were huge there. They never got big here, but in Japan, I had a mini disc component in my stereo system. In my car, it was a CD MD player.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which was real common there.
I've got a Sony unit right there in case anybody ever sends me something that I need to pull off of it. I've only got 4 mini discs. I've got this one. I've got Alice in Chains Dirt. I've got a Charlie Daniels Band, and I don't even know what the 4th one. I can't remember. But my buddy and I went head first into mini disc when it came out, and I had tons of blank discs that I, customized because they were so editable and customizable. It was so cool.
Well, people forget they predated burnable CDs. So
yes,
I mean, you can put and not just that. Once they were on there, they were protected because you weren't going to scratch them in your car.
No, right. And what I wish I had done is gone out and bought some of the inventory. I remember because there were only a couple hundred titles maybe in the US, if that.
So are they a full length?
Yeah.
Are they a full length record or like a full length album or whatever?
They're double sided, and you don't have to pull it out to play both sides. So it plays both sides inside the player. So it's a seamless. Like even if it cuts off the song halfway through, it's got a buffer built into it, so it'll never stop playing. You'll never hear that break in the song.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty slick, but they made it about as much like those cassettes as they could. I know that's kind of hard to see. A little bit bigger, but man, if I had hindsight or foresight back then, I would have bought a ton of these because good gosh, they're expensive now. And I'd love to have a few more just literally for the kitsch value. They are apparently a compressed format. I mastered to them when I very first started out. I would send my stereo master out to it, and I did 1 or 2 jobs, and then Ty Tabor from King's X was like, hey man, that's a compressed format, don't use mini disc to master to. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that, because I was bouncing it to that, editing it, and then putting it on CD. My ears don't hear the difference, but apparently it's a compressed format. I don't know much else about it. Cool.
I knew quite a few DJs that put their whole collection of mini discs because they didn't get damaged in the clubs.
So portable too, man.
Well, and I'm sure they were huge in Japan because of the space. The idea of everybody's talk about compressed format. Everybody's in a compressed format over there.
Well, they were CD quality. I mean, you forget at the time there were no CD burners yet, and even when CD burners came out 5 years later, they were $3,000 when they came out. Whereas mini discs, you could get them for equivalent of $1, a blank one for about $1, and then record it. And every player had recording built into it. So,
wow.
Ray, I would like to have can we do a quick survey? Just very quick. How many of you, show of hands if you think this is bullshit?
What is?
Ryan Robak having the full Bangles catalog on mini disc back in 2000. That's bullshit.
I don't know Ryan Robak from The Man in the Moon, but that sounds suspicious.
I would say they probably didn't even press all the Bangles albums.
Well, I know Ryan Robak, and he's being funny right now.
Yeah.
But I tell you what's not funny is this new album. It kicks ass. That's the guitar player singer of Motivik.
Oh,
yes, he is. And then I've heard the new album, and it is awesome.
Smoking good.
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah, they're right here. They're right here in my neck of the woods, aren't they? Here in Atlanta area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you see him, tell him he's full of crap.
Yeah.
Oh, you news up there.
Yep, I saw it come up for
about
2
Andre
seconds.
Matos.
Yeah, he passed away. Here it is in 2019. I kind of remember that, but I had forgotten until it. And then we have the confirmation that Ryan Robak is totally full of crap.
Okay, well, I like a guy that can tell the truth eventually.
Oh man, we have Joe.
Have to have him on sometime. He's a lot of fun, and like I said, his band is awesome.
Yep.
So,
agreed.
Right on. Well, I guess I could. I got a few new CDs in the mail. One of these has not even been released yet.
Oh.
Of course not.
But
that wouldn't be a Scott thing if it hadn't been released.
I picked up this 99 Crimes album, which I had never heard of before.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a Texas band, and this album came out in
Texas.
Not that long ago. Huh? Yeah, it came out in Texas. And I was looking for a release year, but there's no year on here. It was like in the last couple of years. But it's basically Paul Lydell from Dangerous Toys and Dirty Looks. It's his band, so it's that style of music too. But he is both the guitarist and the vocalist of this band, and he does a really good job. He's got a good voice, not quite as gravelly and sleazy as Dangerous Toys or Henrik from Dirty Looks, but he does have a really good voice. It's kind of high and clean. But yeah, good stuff. It's good. Pleasantly surprised by that. The packaging is pretty simple, but it's got some nice pictures of the band and stuff. And yeah, just if you're into that, kind of style of music, this is worth checking out. And then the brand new album from Flood. I got the CD in the mail. The vinyl's coming out this year as well. Which, of course, if you don't know who Flood is, it contains 2 or 3 of the original members from the band Tourniquet, and then the drummer from Extol, who is a beast. And then a bass player who I don't really know, but it's a female, and I can't remember her name to save my life because I didn't know her from any other bands before. I don't see her name on here anymore. That don't matter. But yeah, it's good. It's really good. It's progressive thrash, a lot like the old Tourniquet stuff. Even the names, the song titles are kind of, all Top Sheet, Atheism, Darwin's Missing Chimp. It's just, it's just very much a Tourniquet album under a different name. So, if I had any complaint about it at all, and it's not just because I like Rob's stuff. I think the mastering on this is a little bit weak, but it's not terrible. It just needs more bottom end. But yeah, great album from them. And then this one I just got in the mail. It hasn't even gone on sale yet, but this is the new remastered version of Destiny's End Transition with James Rivera.
So good.
Pretty much James Rivera and all the guys from New Eden. That's what became this band. But yeah, it's got the little slip case on there, and it's got a nice booklet with photographs. And
are there any extra tracks on that thing?
No.
Someone told me there'd been some live tracks from Destiny's End from those tours floating around.
They actually did a cover song. Do you remember the cover song, Rob, that we tried to get on here? King Diamond. It was a King Diamond cover. We tried to get that as a bonus track, but we couldn't get the licensing.
Okay. I don't remember. Which song was it?
I don't remember either now.
Should have let me know. He just lives down the street from Rob. I could have gone over to his house. Said, hey, man.
Hey, King. Come on, dude.
Hey, King, I like your curtains.
Oh, King?
I know the HOA doesn't.
I wore your T-shirt to see Tom Kiefer. Come on, help me out.
Yeah, it was the label that they recorded the cover for. It was the issue because it was on a King Diamond tribute album. But in any case,
hey,
gotcha.
I got judged at the Tom Kiefer show, so I had my King Diamond shirt on, and there was a dude there. I don't remember who he was, and he says to my buddy, I guess not realizing that we're together, he sees my King Diamond shirt sometime throughout the afternoon, and he says, "That guy doesn't really look like a King Diamond fan." So my buddy came and told me.
You kind of look like King Diamond.
and I giggled about it.
With the beard and the bald head.
I kind of giggled about it. I was like, nah, whatever. I'm kind of a slight dude. And, probably I don't carry myself like a big metalhead or whatever. But anyway, I get out into the edge of the crowd, and we get to talking to this dude about music, and it's that guy. And so he's like, so you're a King Diamond fan, huh? And then I just wore him down with King Diamond stuff. So that was funny. He was a good dude. We had
never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, we had a killer music conversation.
That's awesome.
I mean, speaking of which, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Scott, but I went to this.
No, go ahead.
I went to this kind of and I don't want to I don't want to criticize too much, but it was the NoFX last tour with the Vandals and TSOL, and it's just not my cup of tea. That's all I'm gonna say. And there were $120 tickets, and I'm thinking this couldn't be any less punk than I can imagine. But it was a huge crowd, huge festival, outdoor area. You know, Panther City or Panther Island, wherever that is. Do you know where that is, Rob? Have you ever?
Yeah.
Do you know of it? It's in North Fort Worth, right on the river.
Yeah.
It's very pretty, great sound system. So I see a fellow collector, Doug Zent, who also owns a brewery down there, and he's a rabid collector of the eclectic. He comes over to me and he goes, "Hey, have you ever heard of a Swedish band called Grotesque?" And so I did the same thing. I just start rattling off. Basically, Grotesque was what later became At the Gates. Thomas changed the name, and the band sort of split because Grotesque was very speedy. It was like thrashy death metal, and then At the Gates, as you know, became super melodic, and basically that was the tip of the spear. That was one of those bands that was kind of forming the new Swedish sound, so to speak. And he goes, "Yeah, this guy over here used to be the bass player." And it was Per Olofsson, who used to be called, his stage name was Virgin Taker, but he was just randomly at the show, and we had a nice conversation. He bought us a taco, and I mean, he didn't look anything like his pictures when he was 17 and 18 in Grotesque. I mean, he looked like a normal human being. But to think that dude has got more metal in his pinky than almost that whole entire punk crowd, it was just amazing to me. Yeah. And a super nice guy. He moved to San Diego. He works in tech now. He dabbles in music, but you know, just got completely away from it. So it's interesting to see someone you've seen in a book, because he's in that Swedish death metal history book that I have, and he would just look like a normal human being. Very smart guy, very happy-go-lucky type of guy, but judging, if I were to judge him by the cover, I'm like, what is he even doing here? I mean, he just looked like a normal person, you know.
That's funny.
But anyway, so yeah.
Alex, to answer your question, how is my mastering different from the original master? If I'm being honest, I don't. Man, this is going to sound, I do not mean this to sound the least bit arrogant, but Scott and I have worked on so many things since then that I honestly don't remember what the differences are, but I can tell you what tends to happen when I master stuff that's been issued before. What I try to do is I try to dig out the guitars a little more. Not that they need digging out, but I like the guitars to be very defined. And typically there's a little more bottom end or warmth sometimes.
That's what I was going to say, more bottom end for sure.
Yeah, and that's not to be critical of anything that anybody else did. That's just how my tendency toward mastering is. I really like to define the guitars, and I really like to make the bottom end almost live, like you're there and you can just feel it hitting you without making it too boomy, if that makes any sense. So I suspect that's what you would hear. And sometimes, honestly, what you're going to hear with mine is I might actually turn it down a little bit to try to regain some
headroom.
Yeah. I can't think of.
I'd also say that it's got a little more like separation between the instruments, where if the
you
instruments
like a lot of the stuff too. I
hear that in a lot of his mastering. You know, if this is the music and all the stuff is playing, it gets to be like this, where you got more separation and you can actually hear what the bass is doing without it really like totally changing the music. But it's just, I don't know, there's some separation there. I don't know how to explain that other than say that's what it is.
That's kind of what I try to do in a nutshell. And for anybody that gives two shits about it, I'm completely self-taught. So if you lock me in a room with a bunch of engineers, they can talk around me all day long. I'm more of a listen with your ears and tweak everything until you think it sounds good. And so my process is a little unorthodox, but anyway, yeah, that's it. I don't want to talk about me anymore.
Well, I have let me see. I saw up here somebody. Oh, here it is. Damien Hair Metal. I pulled 2 records just to see what Damien Hair Metal would have to say. So hopefully you're still watching. You're still there. But he said, where'd it go? Where'd his comment go?
Right here.
Yes, the Valow mini disc. So I don't know much about Valow. Just recently, I picked up my first Valow record I don't know, it was a 70s album, and I was like, man, this is good.
Well,
I really like it.
It would be Bow Wow, not Vow Wow.
Right, Bow Wow. Yep.
Yeah.
So just started digging into them. So I recently picked this one up, and and then a friend of mine, Scott Carr, he's online. He's a collector as well, but he sent me a couple more Bow Wow records.
Do you have the live one?
I don't know I can't even remember what I have at the moment. I thought I had.
I have a live Bow Wow and a live Vow Wow.
Yeah, they're both really good.
Yeah, I like the Bow Wow stuff a little bit better. Their 70s stuff, the more hard rock.
Yeah.
But I like all of it. And any of the Bow Wow or Vow Wow stuff, it goes from mid 70s hard rock to 80s metal, depending on what era you pick up. But they ended up getting sued once they started pressing worldwide. When they were just pressing in Japan, it was fine being called Bow Wow. But as soon as they stared pressing stuff and sending it to Europe, they got sued by
Bow Wow.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Gee, I wonder what Little Bow Wow did. Then he probably changed his name.
Well, it's okay because he's little. He differentiates.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's Little Bow Wow.
I'm not casting aspersions. Sorry.
That just happens to be. That's Masterpiece Kid. I know him. I knew him when he was a toddler. He was one of my customers in Houston. New Atrophy. I wonder how it is.
I haven't heard it.
I haven't heard it yet either. I pre-ordered it and it still hasn't. It's just saying they didn't even give me a ship date yet. So I
love that pre-orders now come on a month and a half after street dates as opposed to getting it early like you used to back in the day.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like you finance the pressing by pre-ordering.
Thank you for most of the labels I work for. They actually do send it out before the release date, and sometimes way before the release date if you pre-order it.
Yeah.
But hey, the other thing I was on a site and I didn't bother getting into the conversation, but then I told Rob we would like to do a whole episode on Twisted Sister one of these days. But this is their first album, right? But the album I was curious to see what Damien Hair Metal thought, and anybody else who wants to talk about it, is this one. Because the guy online was saying basically, I don't understand why people hate this record so much. It's a great record. It's Twisted Sister's best album. Now, I can't agree with that at all.
I wouldn't call it their best album, but I like the album.
I like the album. I think it's better than most people make it out to be. I think the problem is you got a band here that was heavy, hard. Every song on here except for one was super fast. The only one that wasn't fast was which one was it? Destroyer, but that still was slow and heavy and even had some death growling in it, which was pretty, didn't happen a whole lot in 1982. So I don't know. So to get from that, where they were kind of like ahead of the pack and nobody was really doing that sound, to this, which is clearly an album that was following the pack. I think that's probably why a lot of Twisted Sister fans didn't like it. But what do you guys think of Love Is for Suckers?
I liked it. I think I need to look at it and see. Tell me what songs are on it.
Well, I can tell you my favorite song on it without even looking, but Wake Up, Hot Love, Love Is for Suckers, I'm So Hot for You, Tonight, Me and the Boys, One Bad Habit, I Want This Night, You Are All That I Need, and Yeah, Right.
Okay, I love Love Is for Suckers, and I love You Are All That I Need. I think that's a fantastic, heavy ballad Twisted Sister song. I love it.
I would have swore that. Why am I?
Their best album? I don't know about that.
I guess if you like that, super, what's the word I'm looking for? Clean production, that Def Leppard Hysteria style production and what went along with all that. That's kind of what this is. Although it does have a really cool cover. I
tell you what, you want to hear some great stuff from Twisted Sister. There's a bunch of live stuff from like 76 to 79.
Oh, yeah, I got all that stuff. I love it.
So fucking good. They were so far ahead of their time.
And the documentary.
Nobody knows,
Yeah, and the documentary is out of this world.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
I mean, people don't realize they had been a club band for a decade before that first album was recorded. They were
a local band for me, so I kind of grew up with them because they were really popular in the area. So actually still have all the 45s and whatnot that they came out.
There's so many bands like that though, like Kix was another one that was around for like 9 years in the clubs, making a huge name for themselves before that first album came out.
Oh, it is on there. I was gonna say my favorite song is on there is Wake Up the Sleeping Giant.
Oh, that is a good song. Yeah.
Which they never play that live. I'd love to hear them, but in any case, cool. I was just curious what everybody thought of that one.
Well, honestly, if I can't listen to Under the Blade, I'd rather listen to Dee Snider's solo record, like the two that Charlie did. But
that last one he just did is one of my favorite things that he's done in 30 years.
And evidently, according to Charlie, he's just done. But I bet they can convince him to come and do one more.
This thing is fantastic. If you guys haven't heard this, that's one of my favorite albums for 2022, 2021.
Yeah, we had
albums of the year.
We had the guitar player on.
We had Charlie on, and
Charlie Belmore on the show at one time. But
Papa Wayne.
I've heard it.
I've heard it once or twice or 20,000 times.
Man, I was just thinking of you, Wayne. That's so funny. I was just thinking about you last week, and here you are. Thanks for watching, man.
I managed to secure a vinyl Grail too that I've been wanting forever.
Let's see it.
Osmond.
Oh wow! Hey man, Osmond Crazy Horses. I need a good clean copy of that.
Angel, hell of a band.
Wow.
Japanese, and I wanted specifically the promo pressing with both Obies because only the promo pressing. I mean, it's got the inserts and all the other stuff that comes with it, but the promo pressing also has.
You showed me that whack poster too that it comes with.
That's the other. That was a different album.
Oh, that's a different album.
This one comes with a.
Oh wow.
Flexi
disc.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's called Angel Message. I haven't actually played it. I more just wanted it because of the collectability of it. But yeah, it's a promo thing sent to the radio station so they could play the promo on it. And
funny enough,
I never see it.
I just talked about them in my last video. I showed that Bucks album.
Yep,
dude, Bucks is awesome.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, they actually
educate me on Bucks because I've got that in my shop. I was going through stuff and I don't
Punky
even know
Meadows.
It's Punky Meadows and the bass player from Angel.
Okay.
And there's actually a song on there on the Bucks album, and it's a singer from the Joe Perry Project.
Oh.
And then one of the songs on there, White Lightning, actually became an Angel song down the road.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I'm getting a cramp. Sorry.
Okay.
Anyhow, yeah,
you should check it out. Is it the one with the green cover, Rob? The Bucks?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
That's the only one they have.
Yeah. I thought they had a second.
I flipped right by it. Scott was here in town. He's like, "Go back! You got to get that. Go back, get that."
Isn't there?
It's just never hard. It never shows up. It just never shows up.
I've got
I got it for like $15 too, in mint condition.
Yeah, I've got the Bucks with the green, but there's also one. There's something that I'm confusing it with, maybe.
I thought there was a second one that had a reddish orange cover.
I thought they only had the one album. You might be right though. Let me look.
I'm looking them up right now.
The album I'm thinking of is Black
1976. 1976, we come out to play.
That was it.
The green cover. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got that.
Then I'm confusing it with something else.
I don't know. It's got like women from the hips down in stockings and high heels. It's like a drawing, like a black and white.
Huh. I don't know that one.
I wonder if there was something else called.
Is there a single? Do they have any? How many singles do they have out?
Nothing. According to Discogs, that's it.
Huh.
Wow. Okay.
I got a couple other things I thought I'd see what you guys think of.
Yeah, let's do it.
I haven't even popped this one open yet.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
It depends on what era it's from. If he was super high on heroin, it's going to suck. If he was somewhat sober, it's probably really good.
1992.
Yeah, that's probably a good one. Yeah. I mean, it was like 94, 95 where he got really bad, where he couldn't get through songs without going into rants and cussing and.
Oh yeah, I saw him with was it Down or with one of the other bands, not Pantera. Yeah, and yeah, it was laughable. I mean, he was so messed up on stage, And it was like at a big festival like Ozfest or Gigantor, one of those kind of places. And
I
he
know
was
a lot
just
of
cussing out. He was cussing out the audience, telling them, "I am the new metal god. Fuck all you fuckers." And I'm like,
I know a lot of guys that saw him with White Zombie that said that he kind of ruined the show because he would get into songs and then start talking and veer off and getting wasted, you know.
That's what happens when. Well, here's the track listing: Heresy, Mouth for War, Domination, Hollow, Walk, This Love, By Demons Be Driven, Psycho Holiday, Primal Concrete Sledge, Cemetery Gates, and Cowboys from Hell.
That's actually a killer set list.
Yeah, that's a killer.
Oh,
yeah, but
I'm gonna tell you now. There's copies of this on eBay, and that I just snagged this one. It's like $14.99.
Yeah.
So it just came out, I think.
Why?
Actually, it says 2021 Mind Control Records, but
I just found this sitting on my keyboard tray. You know what that is, Carcass?
that is a cassette pad.
Yes, it is. And now I wonder where the hell it came from.
We'll save it because I've got a whole bunch of them sitting right here. I've been working on cassettes, reparations.
And here's the other one I picked up at the same time as the other one. Actually, the guy gave me a discount for buying both of them, so I ended up paying like $25 for the Motorhead 77 and the Pantera.
That's cool.
So anyhow, yeah, this is I'm not sure. I need to look more into this because it's got a picture of obviously the classic Motorhead album. But were these guys still in Motorhead? I mean, were they even in Motorhead yet in '77? That's what I want to know. I don't know that
they might have. No,
they wouldn't have.
No, it would have been the original guitar player in '77.
Right. This is recorded live in Birmingham, Birmingham, England. I'm almost positive. I'm going to look it up.
Well, that's kind of like that Van Halen special pressing that I have that's got Sammy Hagar on the cover, and it's got David Lee Roth on the cover, and it's got all Sammy songs.
A bunch of the bootlegs. I got a lot of bootlegs for AC/DC. It's stuff from like 77, 78 with Brian Johnson on the cover.
What? Nobody messes that stuff up. Everybody gets that right.
Okay, I just looked it up. The Blitzkrieg show from Birmingham '77. This was the very first show with the classic Motorhead lineup of Lemmy, Fast Eddie, and Filthy Animal.
Oh wow! There you go.
So,
all right,
it was their first show together. Interesting. There you go.
So, just in today, I just ended up grabbing these right before I came on.
Is that the German Rage?
Yep.
Yes.
New album,
I think.
Yeah, it just came out this week. And then this I've been waiting for a while. This is Rory Gallagher 1990. The 3 LP version is all a bunch of unreleased stuff that's never been put out in bootleg or any other form. So I've been waiting for that.
Well, I mean, here, how about, have you ever heard of Smart Punk Records in Orlando, Florida?
I
have not.
Well, he was one of the vendors. Alex Kenny is his name. He's a friend of Steph's, and he got us into this punk fest, and he had a booth there, and that was probably the only saving grace of the event is they had all these tents. They Drip Tone Records from LA was there. Of course, Smart Punk was there. A couple other people were there, and I love the eclectic, variety. In fact, I found a Verrucker's record that I'd been looking for a while. I found Napalm Death demos from '84, '85 with the original lineup. Bill Steer singing, Lee Dorian, and so it was kind of fun to just kind of see something. You get used to seeing the same old when you're around our area, and I love to branch out. In fact, Clay Newell from Dark Descent Records up in Colorado Springs was here just trolling around, and he went to the record guys out in Abilene, and he was just shaking his head going, how do these guys have this stuff? I said, well, it's a military base, and there's a lot of transitional people there that, the guys come in from Japan and Germany and all points in between, and they, trade in their stuff. That's why it's so killer out there. And they're the only game in town. I mean, name another record store in Abilene, Texas.
Right.
I mean, they're just not.
It's a great shop too.
And those guys have a little bit of everything. I mean, country. They have vintage equipment that they'll Bluetooth for you.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really a cool thing. So I've picked up a few things, but as you well know, I am squeezing pennies, and I actually had a little traffic mishap last week that's really caused me some serious consternation, despite the fact that my car is still drivable. It's one thing right after another. So buying records is not at the forefront of my thought process. But anyway, Alex cut me some deals on those records, and then the gal at Drip Tone was very, very nice about going soft on the price tag. So cool. Fun times. But I don't know. This thing about the pick of the week has caused me to revisit a lot of stuff in my collection, and so that's what's kind of fun. Like I trolled through Led Zeppelin 2 at least twice, and then taking over that by Overkill. I mean, that thing is just phenomenal. Now I'm already thinking about next week, and so get ready for that big surprise.
I wanted to throw one more up because I don't know if this is still available. They did a limited pressing. Scott and I talked about wanting this thing on vinyl for probably a good 7 or 8 years. It finally just got pressed for the first time. Advance and Vanquish from 3 Inches of Blood.
Oh wow!
Yes,
this album is a 9 out of 10. It's just fantastic, and finally got a vinyl pressing, but they only did 1,000 of them. So if they're still out there, grab them while you can, because this thing is fantastic.
Whatever happened to them? Because man, they hit the ground running, and I used to see them like on a regular rotation.
They split up in like 2019 or 20, and they just got back together like a year or so ago. I don't think they've done anything since they announced they were back together, though.
I think they played a couple shows in Canada. Yeah,
I think
they put out their last album like a few years ago. It was killer, and they announced right after they put it out that they were breaking up. So
yeah, we worked. Rob and I worked on a couple of their albums that got re-released on CD.
I think we worked on that one, didn't we?
No, not that one.
Oh, okay.
Nope. We wanted to do that one. We couldn't get it because whoever that company had already licensed it. So
it's Real Gone Music.
Yeah. But before we go, I got some new rock and roll reads too. Pick this one up, Rob?
Ooh. Oh, dude, I was at the book signing and the reformation of the group. Not reformation.
Did you guys see this?
What?
What is it?
It's a signed $1 Billion Babies 12-inch. So if you ordered this through
I did see that.
It said it was an autographed album, which just means an insert these days. But it's a really cool 12-inch insert with all the remaining members signed by the remaining members.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, I didn't order it. It was a little pricey, and I've already
these have been about $50 for these triple album reissues. I've bought all 3 of them, and they all 3 sound amazing, and it's great live shows from that era.
Picked up the new one from Martin Popoff as well.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
I didn't. This is the third one, the third book in the series on Thin Lizzy.
So is that about the 80s?
No, this is actually an album by album. It goes through and it has interviews with people from the band and producers, and so each album is a chapter, and he talks about each specific album and what went into it. And I've only read the first couple chapters, so I can't get that deep into it. But yeah, it's I don't know. I'm a Lizzy fanatic, so I had to jump on it when it came out.
He did
and
that
I got this one in the mail too.
He did that with Black Sabbath too, and it's a really
he did.
It's a great book.
And then I got laid on the line. This actually came from a buddy of mine as a gift, Greg the Egg from Canada. So, but yeah, this is their new Rick Emmett book.
Speaking of book,
we ought to have Triumph talk because one time because
I'd love to do that.
I could do a couple hours on Triumph.
I don't know that much about them, except I've seen them several times and always been impressed. But then there was always the comparison to Rush, and then I just sort of gravitated towards Rush. But I think it would be an interesting. I mean, it would be an educational one for me. I could just sit back and listen.
They sounded more like a late 70s, early 80s American band than Rush.
Yeah, they didn't ever. I don't know why people compare them to Rush. They never
well,
really.
I think it's the 3-piece supergroup idea.
Yeah.
I think
But
April
I
Wine
saw
would be more comparable to Rush.
I saw them at the US Festival, and they were just wow, like holy smokes. And then saw them at the Exarban Arena in Omaha back when they were. Gosh, that would have been.
Was that when Phil X was in the band?
I don't. Boy, that's been a long time ago, and a few green clouded air shows. So
yeah, Phil X did an album with him that's really killer. Before he went to Bon Jovi and took over for Sambora.
There you go. Someone said do a Kiss show, so here you go.
Yeah, we did some Kiss.
All right, so you boys do a Triumph show. We could all do a Kiss show.
Yeah.
And I just added this one to the collection. This is a Japanese pressing for Take Me. I'm still trying to find out if that's the correct sleeve or not, though. That goes with the back of it. The seller said it was, but why would Casablanca be on a Victor label?
Right.
Well, unless they have just different distribution.
Casablanca didn't have their own distribution in Japan.
I know, but I've got a bunch of Japanese pressings, and they have these like different orange sleeves. I've never seen them on a Victor.
Oh yeah, it is. It's the orange. It's the orange sleeves. You're right. I think you're right.
He claims this is the right one, and he's from Japan, but I don't know.
That doesn't mean.
In any case, I wasn't going to show that one, but since someone said do a Kiss show.
So speaking of books, I'm reading. I'm reading Please Kill Me right now. It's the uncensored history of punk. I would like to see a metal book like that does this, because it's not written by a writer. It's all quotes. It's a whole book of quotes from people that were in the scene at the time. It's a really cool way to write a book. It's more a compilation about the different bands and stuff and the scene. So if you guys are into punk, it's worth checking out.
Well, and speaking of which, I don't know if you've read the history of Swedish death metal, but it comes with a triple CD package and a sizable book, and it's really interesting because these guys it gets into the more social idea of how it all became the thing, because in Sweden, those guys get a stipend for being, if they register as a student or an artist, then the government gives them a stipend so they can be creative and not have to worry about where to eat. And these guys would get an apartment together and be 4 or 5 guys from Amorphous or from Grotesque, At the Gates, Therion, name a band that was prominent in that time, and they would all just sit in there and create and not have to worry about food or whatever.
And Sweden always had a really good scene. There's
even the rock scene is
the Job Center Rejects comp number 4. It's all Swedish new wave of British heavy metal era bands, and man, they're just as good as a lot of the new wave of British heavy metal bands. Some of the singles that they were putting out in Sweden were right up there. There's some great stuff from that late 70s, early 80s era in Sweden that most people have never heard of or heard.
Yeah.
Alvaro said that has to be the orange one, but I've got other Casablanca records. Here's an Angel one for Winter Song, and it also has
Victor
I'm sure it depends, because it's who distributed it, right? Not necessarily the record label, because I've never seen a Japanese Casablanca. Hi, Dad.
That's to me.
Right on. Well, we are at an hour, so does anybody have anything they want to say in closing before we get off of here?
You can follow me on Instagram at Metal Rob's Records. You can follow Scott Waters by simply searching No Life Till Metal, and you will find all kinds of wonderful things. You can find Steve on YouTube by looking up Harmless Rebel, checking out his channel. Scott also has a badass channel. And the Carcass, you can follow him on Instagram at Carcass John Art.
And maybe Ruthless Metal can tell us how it really works in Sweden. I don't know. That's just what I heard.
Right on, Dad. I couldn't tell you anything, so
I'd like to go there. I don't know much about it.
No, that's on our bucket list.
I've never been to Sweden either. I've been to Switzerland.
Let's go.
For some reason I always mix up Switzerland and Sweden, probably because it's both SW, but my initials. But
yeah, anyhow. Let's do a show from there.
Yeah, that'd be
okay.
Great.
The Metal Roundtable from Fossum, Norway.
Someone needs to call. Someone needs to call over there and see and have them get us some plane tickets.
Oh, let's just do that.
Just call Switzerland and tell them we're a bunch of American metalheads. We want to come out there and do a show. You guys send us some tickets, please.
Good enough. Thank you,
Yep.
Ruthless Metal.
Yes, man. Thank all you guys for watching. We appreciate it very much. We love coming on here and doing this. We're kind of mixing up hosts and the way we do things a little bit. I hope that's cool for all you guys. Sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm not.
Same, all of us.
Yeah, Carcass was actually gone for show. It's been really cool to have Steve on. And next week we have a guest. Scott, you want to tell him who that is?
Yes, we do.
Is it someone from Ozark Tentacles?
No.
Yes.
Damn it.
Oh.
We almost got another one in. Shit.
We're going to be going. We are going to be visited by Joe Altier. I think it's how you pronounce his last name.
I think so.
From multiple bands, but most known for his work with Brand New Sin.
Okay.
So Rob and I got to work on the vinyl reissues of the first 3 Brand New Sin albums, and that band and he in particular couldn't be nicer people. It was nice to see a band who was actually excited about seeing their stuff come out in vinyl and be very honest about the whole music industry thing without blowing a gasket at who is licensing it. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of hoping we can get into a little bit of.
That's never happened, has it?
Oh, it's happened.
Yeah, I won't mention any names because I don't want to, I don't want anybody to be upset with us if I mention Striper. Oh, sorry. But,
Sour.
Michael Sauer, yes.
Well,
but in any case, we're just kidding. Anyhow, yeah. So that should be exciting. I'm hoping we can get into a little bit with him because he seems really knowledgeable and he's got a really popular YouTube channel too, where he just sings different songs. I mean, of all styles of music, and the guy can sing the dang phone book. So I'm excited to talk to him. And it was even asking him if he wanted to be on the show. Some guys are like, I don't know, but he was like, yeah, absolutely, can't wait. That sounds great. So I was like really excited. So just really nice guy. So we're looking forward to seeing him next week.
Right on.
That'll be fun, man. I'm excited about that as well. All right. Well, unless anybody has anything funny to say, now is your chance. Ozric Tentacles, Jack Wagon. Damn it. So close. We got through a show. Steve, I don't think you were here. We got through a show 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he forgot to say it.
See, here he
Yes,
goes.
He did.
And I didn't say anything.
He's standing over me.
We've had 3 shows that I remember where it didn't get brought up.
And I didn't say a word until the outro, and then we came back, and I was like, hey, guess what? And he knew it immediately.
He did the Muhammad Ali standing over Joe Louis to me.
Actually, my favorite was the one where you were right about to say it, and Rob ended the show right before you could say it.
I wouldn't do that.
Yes, you would. Yes, you would.
That was the best.
All right, boys, for episode 221 of the Metal Roundtable, you know how we do it. Until next time,
Metal will prevail.
I had to buy a cough button from a microphone because I'm going to be doing something cool.